Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday morning to you. You may not be watching this on Sunday, but I am recording it Sunday. I am still in Seattle. What you are seeing behind me is my brother's house. Um, I just got done grading your topic 10 through 15. I wanted to do just a very brief bit of reflecting on your topics and talk to you a little bit about this coming week, which is our last week together. And um, I'm sure you are all working toward the home stretch with your projects. All right, so with regard to topics 10 through 15, I primarily left my personal comments in the grade book. But if you want to go back and see what I said about the individual posts that you guys made, I did leave a comment on every single person's post with maybe one or two exceptions. Um, and and hopefully, if you have a moment, you can go back and check my comments, generally speaking, about your posts. But you will find my personal comments to you in the grade book. All right, so enough said about that. It was a pretty wide-ranging topic, and I thought some of the international comparisons were pretty interesting as well. Okay, so let's just say congratulations for a job well done. A lot of information that we crammed into a very short number of weeks, and I applaud all of you for keeping up. It's commendable, and as I've said before, I think you're all crazy for trying. Okay, so now moving on to this coming week. There is no reading or writing requirement for this week. I've left this week completely blank, empty, so that you can work with your teams. However, if you want me to take an advanced look at any or part of your city profile work product before the grading, the due date for grading, just so that you can make sure you're on track, I suggest that you get it turned in by the end of the day, Tuesday at the latest, because after that, there won't really be time for me to give them back to you and for you to get them back with time to finish them on time. I know some of you were hoping to be able to do that. It's not mandatory. It's just an offer. If you want to submit some or all of it early so that I can take a quick look at it and notice whether there are any obvious problems with it, I will be happy to do that. For those of you who aren't ready to do that, and I know sometimes we have great intentions, but things don't work out the way we hope, especially when we're working with a group, let me just make a couple of suggestions. First of all, everybody, please read everybody else's section as a proofreader. You cannot proofread your own stuff. I can't proofread my own stuff. That's why you guys are catching my errors in the syllabus, especially when there's so many little pieces involved. It's difficult to catch your own errors. So please proofread your own stuff. I mean everybody else's stuff, not just your own. When you are proofreading each other's stuff, here's some things to look for. Are the citations done properly? Okay, that's a big one. I've already been over this whole deal about plagiarism and what we think we know about plagiarism and what it is or isn't. But please double check each other's work to make sure it's properly cited. Second thing, have you actually answered the questions in the rubric? Sometimes people go off and do their research and they come back with stuff that's really interesting, but doesn't necessarily address the questions in the rubric. So double check that you have got the questions in the rubric answered, and if there's other information that's interesting and you want to include it, that will definitely deepen and enrich your work, and I'm sure it will enrich your grade as well. But please, at a minimum, get the questions answered that are in the rubric. If you cannot answer a question in the rubric for some reason, you're going to have a really good reason why and explain that to me. Okay, third, since you are piecing together different pieces of the rubric, please make sure that they transition well, that there are, that it doesn't clearly look like somebody was, writing something. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say. Just make sure that there are good transitions between sections. It should read smoothly, in other words. Now, when you're talking about sections, another thing I want to really urge everybody to do is to use either the labels that I gave you in the rubric or something very similar, because I am going to have that rubric right by my side while I am reading your final projects, and I'm going to just be going down from thing to thing and then looking to see if it's there. You can make sure that I find all your information by using either my labels or labels that are very similar to my labels in terms of how you label your sections. So be good to yourself and your grade by giving me an easy way to find the answers to each of those rubric questions. I'm trying to think if there's any other thing I want to say to you, but just be sure and yeah, somebody read that plagiarism stuff and make sure that you've got everything cited and that you really understand the breadth of all of that, because I'd really love to not have to haul anybody in for plagiarism this semester. Almost never. I think, in fact, only once in my entire teaching career has anybody truly, and well, maybe twice, but only in a big way once, has anybody truly and intentionally plagiarized so that they didn't have to do any writing. It's usually just not understanding what all has to be cited and how it has to be cited. So, and when I say how, I guess I should say that, let me just go over this one little teeny part of it. If you have used something in the body, it is not enough just to give me a citation at the end of your writing. You have to put a short cite, like maybe it's price, comma, 2013 is the short citation, and then at the bottom you would put the full citation for that work. But I've got to know which piece of what I'm reading belongs to which source, and I can't know that if they're just all listed at the bottom and there's no indication in the body where anything came from. So that's just one little piece of it. Anyway, I keep harping on this plagiarism thing, but it's because every summer somebody ends up plagiarizing. And if you guys proofread each other's stuff, you'll find it. I would like this to be the first summer that doesn't happen. It's so complicated now by the fact that I have this rule of turning everything over to the assistant dean so that they can make an independent judgment about whether the plagiarism was intentional, no matter what I think. I think they do that because faculty gets fond of their students and want to believe the best. And so, I mean, I guess that's why they do it. Anyway, this is almost 8 minutes, so I think it's time for me to let you go. If you have any questions about what I want from you in terms of your city profiles, or any other questions at all about how this semester works, don't forget, by the way, that you've got to go and take a look at the book reviews if you haven't already done that yet. I know the graduate students have written their book reviews and put them out, but don't forget that the rest of you who are not grad students still need to go back and make comments. You get points for that. It's part of your grade. I'm so glad I remember that before I said goodbye. Okay, so this is it. Have a happy Sunday, and I will hear from you if you need me, and if not, I will look for your final reports and I will check out your comments on the book review over the course of this week, and look at the syllabus for your due dates. Okay, have a great week. Bye.